Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching Encounter. Today, our guest is Jennifer Fu. She is a holistic wellness facilitator. Jennifer, very warm welcome to you.
Hi, Roshan. Thank you very much for your warm welcome.
As I always ask my guests about what they do, what is a wellness facilitator?
So, a wellness facilitator is someone who helps and support and guide people to have a well-being on all levels, whether it's through things that they need to change, whether food or exercise, or what they can do to help control more of their mind, to control their emotions, or on an energetic and spiritual level.
Jennifer, I have recently discovered that you're involved in many activities as a yoga teacher. You're also a facilitator for Om chanting sessions, which we will talk about later. And you also have practiced many energy healing modalities, if I can call it this way. And I introduced you as a holistic wellness facilitator. By holistic, do you mean organic?
Not necessarily in that sense. So for me personally, the word holistic means the person as a whole. So we really look at the person on all aspects, whether physical, mental, emotional, energetic, but we also look at the environment and all contributing factors that really contributes to the wellness as a whole. Because we may be, say, well physically, but if on a mental level we're having worries, eventually that's going to affect our physical performance as well. We may be, say, well at home, but if we're struggling at work, that's going to affect our well-being. So generally, when we see different practitioners, they all tend to specialize in one aspect of the self. So medical practitioners are usually looking at the person from a physical perspective, but oftentimes if diseases may be manifesting on a physical level, but the source is not physical, then usually they'll do all the tests, they'll do MRIs, but the doctor will say, well, I can't explain what you have. So here, take some painkillers or some medication, and hopefully that will help you, but it's not resolving the problem. So, or you may go and see a psychologist, and they tend to focus more on the mental and emotional well-being. But if the problem is something more on the spiritual level or on the physical level, they're not necessarily going to be able to address that. So that's why when we talk about holistic, it's really assessing all the various aspects of the person and all contributing factors to see where the root cause of the problem is, and what can be done to really change that to the transformation so that the person can then experience wellness on a whole level.
Hearing you say all this, you're coming from a very broad spectrum. So you must have had, or you must have qualified yourself in many other fields. Can you share with us in the fields that you're qualified? Okay, I already mentioned as a yoga teacher. What are the modalities that you have practiced before?
So over the years, I've learned many things. I've qualified in various modalities, but there are other things as well that I've just practiced and through experience that I then use this to help people. So I've learned access bars. I've also done Reiki. I've done pranic healing. I've done Ignite Your Spirit therapy. I've got emotional healing, aura and energetic balancing. Intuitive massage, also trigger point. I've also done chiropractic, myofascial massage, acupressure, regression. So, and I combine all of these to really, mixing different things, even counseling, coaching, to really help the person to effect the change that they need.
But at the end of the day, is it not better to stick to one modality? This is what most people do. How were you able to, if I may call it, mix and match?
Okay. It's like sometimes doing one modality can help, but it might have its limitations. It might work to a certain degree and level, but then when we hit a block and it's no longer working, then there is a need to change it. But also if we're just using one thing, if I'm just doing massage, which will help on the physical level, which can also affect the mental level, but then the block is more of an emotional thing, then doing the massage might not necessarily move it. So sometimes people might even notice that they'll go for a massage and then they'll leave. Either they'll feel relief for 2 days and then it comes back, or oftentimes as well, they'll even leave there and feeling like, my problem, my pain is still there. Because the problem might be manifesting physically, but the source is from another level. Oftentimes people come to me and then we'll go for a time where we'll do a consultation, and just through talking. And once I help them to have the realization of what that source may be, they already change. I often have people that tell me, even before I touch them, before I do any manipulation, any massage, they already feel that the pain's gone. So that's why, if you just stick to one particular modality, it can be limiting in being able to really fully help that person to shift the problem that they have.
Well, hearing from so many modalities that you have learned and practiced, does it mean that you're not a specialist of any of them, but you're a jack of all trades? I don't mean this question in a wrong way, but I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from.
I understand that because oftentimes people have this perspective that you need to specialize in one thing to be really good at it. So from my perspective is I'm a specialist in holistic wellness. Because if we look at jack of all trades, like I don't cook, for example. It's like, for example, if I was to run a wellness retreat, I specialize in helping people to heal themselves. I'm not going to go doing the cooking or do, the decorations or whatever it is. So I specialize in wellness.
Okay. Jennifer, why should someone come see you as a holistic wellness facilitator?
It's not, I don't believe in a should or shouldn't. It's more if people feel within them that, they've tried many things, they've either gone and see doctors. Especially when I was in Guatemala, I've seen people that came from the US or Europe, and oftentimes they've gone and seen all specialists, and they can't find solutions. I had one person in particular that came to me for 2 years. She had hip problems, and all kind of specialists couldn't tell her what the problem was. And she finally came to me because I ended up meeting her and told her what I do, and she's like, okay, well, I'll give it a try because I've tried everything before and it doesn't work, so what do I have to lose? So she came and seen me, and then through talking and all that and the process, we really uncovered a lot of trauma that she had with her family and her parents, and she literally cried for 2 hours on my massage bed. So if it's really, within people that they really feel, okay, like a calling in a way sometimes, like an intuition that says, okay, I've tried this and I've tried that, it doesn't work, so let me try something new. Or oftentimes also people just have a knowing. They just feel, okay, I'm going to go see that person. I don't know why. And it's really trusting that knowing and being open to, what else is possible.
Oh, fantastic. It's like listening to the signs that life sends you.
Yes.
What is holistic wellness? In general, people mean one of two things when they talk about holistic wellness. The term is often used as a shorthand for alternative medicine. For example, if someone had a medical diagnosis, they may look for natural ways of treating the illness. This would be holistic medicine. The broader definition of holistic wellness uses the literal meaning of the word holistic. That is, it defines wellness as the interdependence of several dimensions of health. The whole person, therefore, isn't well unless they are well in every area of life, not just physical health. While experts debate which areas should be included in holistic wellness, most agree that it encompasses mental, emotional, and physical health. In Western society, wellness is typically associated with physical health. We define health as the absence of illness or disease. However, that's only part of the story. Health and wellness can only be understood as parts of a whole, and all of the dimensions are connected. Stress. It is widely understood and scientifically proven that stress causes most major health issues. Stressful events are a perfect example of how seemingly unrelated areas of your life can affect your emotional and subsequently your physical health. Holistic wellness is now beginning to have a measurable impact on companies across every industry. If employers want to increase productivity, creativity, and innovation, they can no longer try to separate it from well-being. The good news is that there is no need to try to separate our work and home lives, or even try to separate different aspects of holistic wellness. While people are living longer today, they are also experiencing chronically high levels of fatigue and stress, are consuming nutrient-depleted foods, and are exposed to hundreds of potentially harmful chemically through our air, water, cleaning, and personal care daily products. So to say the holistic health is important would be an understatement. It is now time that a more holistic, whole-body solution becomes a standard part of the way we treat and support the health of billions of people living on this planet. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a first step. How did it begin for you?
So for me, it began, when I was in high school. It was really tricky for me when I was about to do my school certificate, and I really felt lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I realized I wanted to do hairstyling. Like I would watch magazines and fashion shows in Paris, and this is what I wanted to do. And when I told that to my family, it wasn't really well received, and they wanted me to do my high school certificate and go to university. And that was so I ended up doing my high school certificate, and then that was a struggle for me to afterwards, because I felt really torn between really following what my heart was telling me and what my family wanted for me. And from that went my journey, where I eventually did go to Australia to study hairdressing and makeup. And then I had a career for 10 years doing this. And then I sort of felt, like I hit the wall eventually, where at first it was, something that I really loved doing. And eventually it just became a job that I was doing for money. And also that I woke up one day, at the peak of my career, where people were, contacting me once a week saying, "Can I assist you?" But I didn't feel good enough. And I also felt like the work that I was doing was quite superficial. Like I would be working with the most beautiful girls, but they usually would be the ones that had the least amount of self-confidence. So I realized that I was really gifted at transforming people on a physical level. But once people go home and they wash it off, they are faced back with themselves again. So I really, for me, felt this calling that I really wanted to effect deeper change for people, because once I help someone change their life, it also creates a ripple effect out, and it goes out to people. They share it to the people, they transform their lives, and this is more like, how it started for me. And also as well, during that time where I felt like I hit the wall, I was I went for a period where I was really tired, and I thought I had health problems, and I went to see the doctor, and they said everything's fine. But for 2 weeks, I just wanted to sleep, and people would contact me for work. I wasn't replying, so that was really for me like a wake-up call. What are you doing? Is it really fulfilling you? Is it meaningful to you?
So you kind of lost the passion for what you had before, and you had a new calling in life.
Yes.
Wow, I can relate a lot to that.
But it was also for me, I felt like it's a period of going through what some might call depression in a way.
Transition.
Yeah, and different words that can mean different things. But for me, it's really like, okay, is it really what, it is really your path now? And oftentimes when this happens, we have fear. We don't want to change because we feel this is what we know, what we've done. We've invested 10 years in studying and working this, and why change to do something else?
You're in a comfort zone, you're fine, you're doing well, you're earning your life. And do you want to have a 360 turn and start afresh from zero, in a way of saying?
That's right. But also, oftentimes, it's because people are scared because they're uncomfortable in the comfortableness, but they're worried that if I let this go, would it be worse? Rather than looking at, would it be better?
So that leads to my next question. When you did the course on hairdressing and makeup, which of course you became very good at and you worked for 10 years, was this not your calling in life? Or was it just a passion that eventually became a job and the passion ran out?
I would say that it was a calling for me at that time. It wasn't necessarily a passion as such, because even when I went to Australia to study makeup, I remember the first 6 months I was in class, I really felt lost and confused because I had no idea about makeup. I just went because this was the calling that I went and did. And the other students in the class, they were passionate about it. That was what they loved to do. And but for me, it was just, okay, it's a call, go and do this. And it's really after 6 months that I really found myself to really starting to understand properly for that. So in that sense, for me, it's like there's different stages of life. So we have a calling in that moment to do this. We do it, we fulfill it, and then oftentimes another calling comes about. It's like every day we wake up, we don't eat the same thing. So
So
one
you have
day,
a lesson to learn at that calling, and then you move on to the next one.
yeah. It's not necessarily a lesson to learn. It's just that, this is what I'm supposed to do right now. And then once I've done that, I've accomplished it, then I've got something else to do. It's sort of in a way even when we go to school, we learn different subjects, and then eventually we use this to then do something else with it.
Of course.
So it's different stages. It's like stepping stone. So I do this for a time being, and then I do something else. So that doesn't mean that the one, because what I found, especially in Mauritius, is generally people tend to think, okay, choose what it is you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Exactly. That's what I'm. How do you know that one calling has come to an end and there's a new one coming? How do you draw the lines?
Generally, it's a feeling. If it's something that is still something that you're supposed to do, you still enjoy doing it.
But you need courage to do this. I mean, from doing hair and a makeup artist to become a holistic wellness facilitator, it's two different worlds. How do you stop one and how do you, okay, you have a feeling, but then you still have to sustain yourself. You have to reskill yourself and also have the courage to do it.
I suppose in a way I did it incrementally. So that's why oftentimes as well people have this fear of making a big jump. So it can either really be either or, I quit this and I start something new, or it can also be incremental. So for me, it's just that life guided me through this. So through a series of also difficulties in other areas of life, relationship or whatever it is, I ended up doing a therapist training. Not originally because I wanted to become a therapist, but because I needed help for myself. And eventually that led to then me becoming a therapist and then evolving to becoming a wellness facilitator. So it's really just having the courage to just listen to that intuition in the time. And nobody says that it's easy or that it will be without fear. So, but courage is not a lack of fear. It's just feeling the fear, but being able to do it anyways. But for me, really in my life, how I looked at it is really wanting to live a fulfilled life and not really having any regrets. Do I choose to continue for the next 20 or 30 years doing something that, even though, yes, it was my passion and my calling before, but I no longer feel it is? Do I keep going through that? Or do I change? And in a way, for me, partly I did it because when I had that sort of hitting the wall, that was in July 2010. And it's really only in 2014 that I stopped doing hair and makeup. Because the universe made it so, because I actually was in Canada then, and I was only meant to do a trip for 6 weeks and then come back to Canada, but then somehow the universe guided me to Guatemala, so my equipment ended up staying in Canada. So in essence, it was the universe that says, okay, you're not going to stop doing that, so we're going to make you do it.
Okay.
So generally in life, what happens is either the carrot trying to convince you, and if you don't follow it and you don't convince it, what happens is usually the stick. It's like the universe make circumstances and situations in your life become very painful so that you kind of have to let go. But what people tend to do is they still hold on until they're in suffering, but they still won't let go because they're scared.
I think this is a major issue of when to know when to let go of things and to adopt new methods or a new activity in life. Jennifer, my next question to you, what happens when a person comes to see you?
So when a person comes and see me, we sit and we talk. It's really opening the space for the person to really share what is not functioning in their life and to have realizations of why that is. Because oftentimes either we'll have a problem and we might not know the reason. Sometimes we might know the reason and we might not know what to do. Or oftentimes we might know the reason, we might even know what to do, but then we can't do it. So it's really providing that space for people to be able to express themselves. Because oftentimes in life, we go about, everybody says, hi, how are you? The, instinctual answer is saying, fine, thank you. But are we truly fine? Do we ever truly take the time to sit down and really evaluate ourselves? Am I truly fine? Am I truly good? Or to even share with someone how I truly feel.
The question also is, are you aware if you're really fine or not?
Yeah.
So some people say I'm fine, but they're not really fine. But there's the other side of them being aware of what is really fine and not. And again, it's all about fine lines, right?
It's oftentimes because people don't even truly know what that is. If we've never really experienced true wellness in our life, we don't know. Oftentimes as well, people tend to think that they are happy. So they're happy, but are they truly, truly happy? What is even the meaning of happiness? So it's once we've really, experienced something, we know the difference. It's like for me, from experiences living overseas and going for retreats, I know what it is to say, be in a calm state of mind. So now when I'm not in a calm state of mind, I am very much aware of it because the feeling is different. Even for me, leaving Guatemala, where I was living in a small village on the edge of a lake, where, it's full of activities of yoga, meditation. Every second person you meet there is either a yoga teacher or a modality, wellness modality practitioner of sort. And there's hardly any vehicles. It's a very peaceful, easy life.
Sounds beautiful.
But then when I came to Mauritius, I became aware how much the nervous system of people living in society is very different. Because I really felt overwhelmed. I felt like my nervous system is no longer adapted to living this life. Just even being in the car, I would be like sometimes screaming because I would not be prepared to how people drive. People are always in a rush. Our nervous system is always on overdrive, which generally creates stress, which then creates diseases of all kinds and forms that we then don't know how to resolve. Because in a sense, stress temporarily can be a good thing because it helps you to change, to survive.
Jennifer, thank you very much for being with us in the studio of the MBC and sharing lots of your wisdom that you have accumulated over the years. And I wish you all the very best going forward and keep shining, keep helping people.
Thank you, Roshan, for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. I hope you found it as interesting as I have. If you have any queries on the guests or on the topic, drop an email. It's encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Also, if you have suggestions on the next guest or topic, also drop an email. Until the very next program, goodbye.